Hi everyone, I'm Lauren, and man, it's been a really long time since I've done a booktube video. Sorry about that. It's just been really crazy the past 2 months or whatever, and I've been really struggling to try and make my booktube videos better. I've just been having a heck of a time trying to figure out what to do, because my lighting is bad, my camera's bad, my audio's bad, so it's like I gotta buy a whole bunch of stuff. And I just can't really do that right at this moment, or I can't figure it out right now. I did remember that I have a blue, a snowball mic. I unfortunately can't use it in conjunction with my camera because my books and stuff are in another room, and I don't have a laptop. I have to record on my PC, which is in another room, and it's kind of annoying to... I can't put my camera on top of my PC. It just doesn't work right now without getting extra stuff. Maybe I'll figure that out later, but for now, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna see how this goes. I plan on doing a bunch of end of the year type videos still, even though it's gonna be a month late, and end of decade stuff. There's a bunch of different videos that sound fun to do and I really want to do, so I'm gonna do them even if they're late. But for right now, I wanted to start off with a December wrap-up video. So let's just get started, shall we? December was a pretty terrible month for me in reading. I think I was just not feeling that great about my booktube, and that kind of feeling kind of squeezed into my reading as well. So I only read 4 books in the month of December. So in December, I read 2 middle grade fantasy, 1 manga, contemporary manga, and 1 cozy mystery. Of these 4 books, I had 2 3 stars and 2 4 stars. So kind of middling a little bit, and I feel like the 4 stars are not a high 4 star. If I did half-star ratings, they could potentially be 3.5 stars instead. But we'll get into that. Let's just start off with my 3-star books. So both the books that I read that are 3-star are my fantasy middle grade books. I finished off the Search for Wandla series. In December, I read A Hero for Wandla and The Battle for Wandla, both by Tony D. Terlizzi. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's kind of an interesting name. I read the first book in November, and I don't think I did a wrap-up for that, but the first book, I think it's just the Search for Wandla. The series starts out with the main character. They live in this underground type facility with a robot caretaker, and she's training to one day go up to the surface and live on her own, but suddenly she's put into a situation where she has to flee and try and survive on her own, and she finds out that what she's been planning for is not at all like she expected. It's a completely different world from what she was expecting, and she has to try and survive, figure out what happened, and just kind of figure out where to go from there. In the second and third books, A Hero for Wandla and Battle for Wandla, it takes a different approach. So I really liked the Search for Wandla. I think it was kind of charming, and I liked the exploring and finding about the different aspects of this world. D. Terlizzi has another series. I forgot what it's called, but I feel like it's kind of similar in the fact that it's a lot of these interesting made-up creatures, and in here especially has a lot of different species and different factions and stuff like that. And I really liked the first book because it was exploring these things, and the main character didn't really know what they were doing, and of course we don't really know anything about this new world. It's just kind of interesting exploring those things with the main character throughout the book. And it just has a really good ending that I really like for the first book. The second and the third book, however, take a really different turn, and I won't go into spoilers, but in the second and third books, the main character has kind of basically figured out the world now and what the situation is. But in these 2 books, she's now focusing more on kind of saving the world that she's in. Like, there's this situation that the world is in, and it really sucks. She's got to figure out how to stop it, and also find a place for herself. And I really didn't like this part. There's a lot more battles and things, and I didn't care for that. I more was a fan of the slower pace, figuring things out, learning different things, and very slow survival, essentially. And I did not like the battles, and I did not like the turn for this. Obviously, a hero for one lot in the battle for one lot, you can tell it's a bit more battle, and there's a lot of more political stuff, and I really don't like it. Both of the books also kind of blended together for me, and I'm just having a really hard time separating them out. They both kind of squished together in this big blob of I don't really care too much. They still have some characters that I really like in them, so it's not a complete wash of this is a boring slog, but they did kind of seep into there. And there were also some parts in the battle for Wanla that I distinctly remember as being very strange and weird and kind of like, what the fuck, what is this nonsense? The first book did not have anything like that, and I was just kind of taken aback by some of the weird aspects with it. So that's just kind of unfortunate, and I gave both of them 3 stars because I did like some parts and I really didn't like other parts, and it's just less than the first book. I kind of wish the author did the first book and maybe changed the ending a little bit, but then just left it at the top. So that's how it goes, unfortunately. So now we're into the 4-star ratings, which, as I said earlier, they're kind of lower 4 stars for me, maybe some of them. I'm not really sure, but I don't like to rate in half stars. It's just a little bit too confusing for me sometimes, so I just stick to whole stars, and Goodreads doesn't allow half stars anyway, so no point for me in thinking about that too much. The first one I'll talk about of these 4 stars is Please Tell Me Galko-chan Volume 5 by Kenya Suzuki. This is a manga series. It's kind of this contemporary comedy series. It kind of reminds me of this style of comic called 4-koma, which is a set of 4 panels, one after the other, and then you have like a short gag. It's kind of like that, but they're not 4 panels, really. In the manga, you'll have kind of a small situation in a single page, or maybe even 2, and then a few like longer scenarios in multiple pages. But it's just kind of the day-to-day kind of shenanigans of a few different characters in high school. And the manga kind of often has this message of not judging people based off their looks, and it also has a lot of jokes. Like, a lot of the jokes are kind of sexual in nature, so it's definitely not for everybody. But I really like the jokes, and I really like the characters, and there's not really much to say about Galko-chan Volume 5 in specifically, but I did like there is some overarching story. Like in this one, Galko's sister is trying to find love when she's used to just kind of having one-off dates with a bunch of men, and she's kind of finding a more steady partnership and stuff like that. I also really like Galko-chan in general, just because the series is very body positive, I think. Like, there are a bunch of different characters in there, in varying sizes. They're all people. There's no haha, fat people are funny, and I really like that. And it's overall just kind of a nice feeling sort of manga. Yeah, there's not really much to say about it because it doesn't really have too much of an overarching plot, but I really like it. Not for everybody, but for me, it works, and so I gave it a 4-star. This one I don't think I would give a 3.5 star, maybe. I don't think so. I really like it. And then the last book I read in December was the Kalahari Typing School for Men by Alexander McCall Smith. This is the 4th book in the #1 Ladies Detective Agency series. It's a cozy mystery series set in, I think it's Botswana. It's just the main character who owns a detective agency, as you might assume from the series title, and she goes around solving very small cases around town, and just kind of general figuring it, like there's a problem to be solved, and she goes around and tries to fix it, and she's really smart and she's pretty funny. There's various other reoccurring characters, and they have their own problems that they solve throughout the series and stuff like that. In this one in particular, the main character, her assistant starts up a typing school for men, as you might expect from the title. And also in this one, another detective agency opens up near them, and there's kind of this headbutting. I really like the number 1 Ladies Detective Agency series. However, I think this one may have been less good than some of the other ones. Just some of the resolutions for some of the problems were not very interesting, and maybe some of even the problems were not quite as interesting in this one. I feel like they had fewer cases to solve in this one. I feel like it was mostly just money issues, like they're tight on money, they gotta find a way to get more money, and they have to figure out how to get more money. And I mean, it was good still. I wouldn't say it's lesser in a sense that it was awful, but it was lesser in the sense that I liked some of the other ones a lot better, perhaps. Or maybe not a lot better, but definitely better. It's kind of hard to talk about books that you're not super enthused by, but not super hate either. I liked it. I wouldn't give it a 3, so that's why I think I'd give it a 4. Maybe if I did half stars, I might give it a 3.5, but as it stands currently, I gave it a 4-star. I'm not sure if I want to continue in this series or not. I have been told the later books kind of just decline in quality a little bit more, so I don't know. I might give the next one a shot and then decide from there. I might not. I don't know. There's certainly a lot of other things I have to read, so it's not like I'll be lacking in books if I give up here, but I'll figure that out, I guess. Anyway, that's all of the books that I have read in December. Unfortunately, not any big hits and not any big stinkers either, but hey, whatever. But that's how it goes. You can't always have a month that is just full of winners. Hopefully January will be better. Wink, hint, spoiler alert, it's already so much better, so look forward to that when I do a wrap up for January. But yeah, coming up, I plan to do some videos wrapping up the end of 2019, like a best books, worst books, and probably like a favorite books of the decade, and I haven't exactly decided what videos I want to do in what order, but I am planning on doing wrap-up type videos for the year, and so look forward to those. And thank you so much for watching. I will try and improve this format perhaps, and I don't know if I'll switch back to doing a face camera type thing. I may or may not, depending how much I like this. It's certainly a lot better audio, so that's already a big win. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll just try and do what I can. I'm sorry if I'm not super consistent, but I do really want to continue making videos. So I hope you stick around and watch them if you like them. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!